Yeah. Hi, Shruti. How are you?
Yeah, hi sir. How are you? I'm good, thank you.
Good, good,
How are you?
good. I am good. Thank you. So, can you tell me something about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Shruti. I'm from Bangalore basically. So I have got 5.1 years of experience in manual testing, out of which I worked in automation for almost a year. So I have very good experience in writing test case, executing, and also I was involved in reviewing process as well. So far I worked for 4 projects in different domains like healthcare, e-commerce domain, and so this is about myself and coming to my roles and responsibilities. In my last project, I was basically a manual tester. So I used to write the test cases in Excel, then export it to the Jira plugin, which is X-ray, where we used to export the written test cases from Excel. And then after writing the test case, we used to, sorry, first we would get the requirements
Hmm.
from the developers and the other stakeholders. Then based on the understanding of the requirements, we used to write the test case and export it to the plugin. And if we face any defects in between, so we used to log it and follow the defect life cycle. And then once the application becomes stable, we would hand it over to the automation tester. So myself automated few test cases because of the less bandwidth sometimes. So once it is automated basically with the tool called Start. It's an internal SAP tool, so where we automate the test case and we upload it in the backend. For that, it is a different tool for the execution tool that is called SAP Test Execution Platform. So this is the whole process we used to follow. And based on the analysis, coming to the analysis, sometimes we used to face many failures
Hmm.
from the past test cases. So basically, we used to divide the test cases between the testers, and we used to analyze and make it run fast. And that is how we used to manage everything. Yeah. And sometimes I was involved in API testing also based on the requirement via Postman. And I was involved in retrospect meetings, sprint planning meeting, and daily stand-up meeting as well.
Hmm. Okay, okay, fine. Now, let's consider a scenario.
Mhm.
Mhm. So, you are working in an automation team and you are working on a test automation project for some e-commerce platform. Right? Is the screen visible to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm? Now, the test suite had been growing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you are working on a test automation project for an e-commerce platform, right? Now the test suite that you have been uh, adding multiple modules related automation scripts into this particular test suite, right? And it has been growing from several months. Now it has become very difficult to maintain due to redundancy, code duplication, long test execution times, right? And now some tests are also failing intermittently, right? So there is a kind of a
Mhm.
intermittent issue that you are getting in an automation framework, right? And it becomes challenging for you to identify the root causes, right? So what will you do in this situation?
Okay.
Mm,
Can you please repeat it again, sir, if
mm-hmm.
you don't mind?
Sure, sure. See, so consider you are working in a test automation project for an e-commerce platform, right? And you have been
Yeah.
adding multiple tests. So it's not a framework that you have created 1 or 2 months back. It has been created long back, right? Now it's
Mhm.
very difficult to maintain due to the redundancy, code duplication, and also there are some tests which takes a lot of time in execution, right? Some tests are
Mhm.
also failing intermittently, right? And
Mhm.
it becomes challenging to identify the root cause, right? So,
Okay.
yeah, so what will you do in this scenario?
First of all, I'll try to go through like why it is failing, and
Mm,
I will analyze it basically, and I will raise it as an issue first of all in Jira or test management tool that this is happening and so many test cases are failing. In the I will fill out all the details in the Jira, and also I will take a call with the test lead, test managers, and other these many people, and also within the team I will intimate that this is happening, like many test cases are failing, so we will have to identify the root cause and we will have to debug it in depth. So based on this we will work on it all together.
mm, mm. So will you start refactoring it?
Sorry.
So what will you do? What would be the next action item? So you have highlighted this as an issue, right?
Mhm.
Now what next? Mm,
So once we debug it, we will have to identify why it is failing. Maybe
mm,
sometimes it could be the delay which is happening. Because of that, the page load is not happening for multiple test cases. So that could be the reason. Or sometimes the XPath might have been changed for few elements. Maybe the common element which is found in the many test cases. So that could be the reason many test cases were failing. We have to identify the XPath is working sorry, XPath is working fine or not,
mm.
and we have to change it accordingly, the XPath and all.
Right, right.
So maybe this could be the reasons, these
Mm,
two.
mm. Correct, correct. So what you will do is before starting refactoring, you'll identify the
Yeah.
areas for improvement, right? There might be some modules,
Correct.
yeah, there might be
Mm-hmm.
some modules which would require some updation of the locators or maybe updation of the code. Not all the modules might require the refactoring, right? Then
Correct.
you will check the execution results also. Are there any time period when some particular tests are failing, or it is like you are getting slowness in the execution, or the it's a browser issue or it's an environment issue? You'll identify first unstable test and then you will mend them. You'll make them up and running. Then you will integrate it with the larger automation suite and then you will run the
Mm-hmm.
automation. Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, which is the framework that you were using?
Actually, we didn't use any framework because it
Hmm,
was a tool.
hmm,
Everything, it's like recording and playback tool. We
okay.
have to record everything and
Hmm,
playback it. And if there are any requirements, any changes in between, so we
hmm,
have to edit that particular step by using editing the XPath or
hmm,
add the custom code, something like that. Yeah. Basically, it was a playback tool. So we didn't use any framework for that.
hmm, hmm. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, this is the code that I have written in automation. It is basically to read the data from the cell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, whenever I am executing this code, right? So here I have used
Okay.
Apache POI to read the data from an Excel file. Now, whenever I am
Mm.
getting this, whenever I am running this code, I'm getting an output as file exists true java.lang.null pointer exception. So what is the issue with
Okay.
this code? Yeah.
Maybe the data is not fetching from the Excel, right?
Hmm, hmm.
Getting.
So yeah, so what is happening is
Mm.
actually we need to find the root cause, and
Mhm.
this is a simple logic that we have written to read the data from a cell in an Excel file.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And here we have implemented try catch mechanism also. But every time
correct.
when I'm running this code, I'm getting file exists true and java.lang.null pointer exception.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So can you identify the problem with this code?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. I think in file exists the system dot is out dot println.
Mhm.
Is this the method defined or we can't see that method?
Which one? Which method?
File existing XLSX.
File existing. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the print out statement. System.out.println. If the
Okay,
file,
okay. Yeah.
yeah, if the file
Mhm.
exists, then it will return true or false, Boolean.
Correct, correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Actually, cell data is defined blank in both the
Mm.
twice. That could be the reason.
Okay. So you mean to say if I mention some cell data here, then I will not get null pointer exception?
Mm, not sure, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, no worries. So let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. What is the problem with this code and why are we getting java.lang.null pointer exception in the output? Okay. Hmm. Have you used collections in your automation framework?
No, we haven't used.
Okay, okay, fine. So what are the different challenges that you will face while doing automation?
Different challenges would be
Hmm.
like I did face few of them.
Hmm.
Uh, like as we were using this tool and all,
Hmm.
sometimes the element which we have to record it or we have to while writing the test cases, it was removed without informing us
Hmm.
sometimes. So like the associated test cases would also fail when it is
Hmm.
put in the schedule based running. So we have to debug like why it was failing. We would not be knowing because we were not informed many times.
Hmm.
So that was the case. Like when we approach the developers, they would say like it was removed because of the requirement, but we
Okay.
were not intimated many times. So
Hmm.
that was one of the biggest challenge which we faced, and we will have to spend like more than a day or 2 days also in a sprint
Hmm.
out of 7 8 days. So 2 days were gone. We would be like we got informed only after like 1 or 2 days.
Oh.
So this was one of the challenge we faced in while doing test automation framework, sorry, tool. And other than that, mm, in test automation only, right? Or in
Yeah,
manual
yeah.
also
No,
you?
no, no, no. Test automation. Just test automation.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What are the
And
other challenges? Yeah. Any other apart from these?
apart from this, that could be sometimes it could be related to resources also.
Mm.
More work and less people in less time.
Mm.
So we have to debug and make it run pass in just 2 days. So that would be like more challenging. We have to debug and debug internal test cases, which is attached to so many test cases. So we were having like very less bandwidth sometimes.
Mm.
So almost like 2 to 3 months, only three testers were there. So this was like most challenging times. So we have to debug, and it would take more time sometimes. And yeah, this was one of the biggest challenge we faced.
Okay, okay, no worries. So let me share my screen. So when you get this question in a real-time interview, you can explain about these things. So first is the test maintenance that you mentioned,
Mhm.
right? That is the
Okay.
significant challenge, right? And that becomes time consuming when the locators get changed and you have to update those test scripts, all of those things. Or if it is unplanned, then it has become more challenging. But if it is planned, then
Mhm.
it can be taken care. Next is the
Correct.
flakiness. What is flakiness? So flakiness test, or you can say the test with intermittent failures. So sometimes they will pass, sometimes they will fail without any changes. So maybe on Monday, you are running those test scripts, they are working fine. On Friday, if you run them, they are getting failed, right? So these are the tests in which you need to identify the timing issues. Maybe test environment is
Mhm.
unreliable, maybe some API is not being called on some particular VM, right? So that is also one of the challenge, actually, managing this kind of test, because getting stability and towards the entire automation suite is very important, and if you get such kind of test, it is time consuming. Then
Mhm.
synchronization. Let's say there are some timing issues because of some time the elements is not getting loaded, or there are some synchronization issues that are you are getting and which are leading to the test failures. So you need to come up with the appropriate wait strategy. So that is the solution. But these are also the things that are actually the challenges. Then environment configurations, the there should be a consistency in the environments like production, staging, test, all those. Then data management, the data dependencies is very important. It should not be so complex that it takes a lot of time and a lot of code in just reading the data, right? So our
Mhm.
main aim is to test the automation and by passing different permutations and combinations of the data, but at the same time, data management should not be taking a lot of time, right? That is very crucial for the test automation.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is the one of the aspect. Okay, now let's say if you have to, okay, you are aware about Jenkins, right?
Jenkins, instead of Jenkins, we used to use the step tool, execution platform. That
Okay,
is the
okay.
execution.
So what
Mhm.
was the frequency of the execution in your project? And was it scheduled or was it manually triggered?
No, no, it was scheduled like every Monday, Wednesday, and
Mm,
Friday in
mm,
the midnight.
in the
So
midnight.
there were it was scheduled based on the modules.
Mm,
So two modules on Monday and two other modules were on Tuesday and Thursday. So basically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, those days it was running
mm,
all five modules. Out of five modules, two modules were on Tuesday and Thursday.
mm.
Yeah,
Okay. So some modules were running on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some modules were running on Tuesday and
Tuesday
Thursday.
and Thursday.
Mm.
Yes.
So how would you do the root cause analysis if any tests are getting failed? How would you debug them?
In terms of automation, right?
Yes, yes, automation. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, first we used to identify, say, for example, if there is any changes in any locators, so we have to identify it by using inspecting the element, and we have to check if the element of the XPath
Mm,
is matching with the right XPath which is written before. So if it is like not matching, then that
mm,
could be one of the causes. And apart from XPath, like yeah, loading issue were also there. So sometimes we would not be knowing why it was failing. So we have to debug. There was an internal debug tool also. For
mm,
that, we have to mention the element name with one more field name called debug. If you click on that debug element, so it would debug in depth and it would come up with the, why it was failing
mhm.
in the pop-up kind of thing. So that is how we used to debug.
Okay, okay. What do you know about Git?
Git is like version control system which helps in managing and changing the file, which helps in managing and controlling the changes.
Mm,
Also, we can track the changes which is happening in the file or the document. We can track it basically.
mm.
So it's a type of version control system. And
So can you
also
explain
it
the,
helps to
yeah,
collaborate. Yeah.
yeah, please go ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah, using that tool, we can collaborate with the team members, other team members, what changes they have made, and how well we can implement those changes in our files, and we can push it or pull it. Yeah.
Okay. So can you explain the Git workflow?
Workflow, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, Actually, yeah, I have
Mm-hmm.
got an idea, but I
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
in
you
my
can
own
give it a
terms.
try. Yeah, yeah, please, please.
Yeah, yeah. Say like there will be a working directory
Mm,
which helps in having the files, and if you want to push it to sorry if you want to add it to the staging area, you can use the command the git add, and from the staging area, if you want to commit it to the repository, so we can use git commit. So from there, if you, that is like local repository. If you want other team members it to be visible, that is like the global repository. If you want to push it, that then it can be pushed using git push. And if other team members want to see what changes I have made and what I have done, so they can pull it by downloading, and also they can use it by git pull from the repository, and they can make changes and upload it. So
mm,
this is the workflow, and we can this is what, yeah, I
mm.
have done in the project.
No worries, no worries. See, you can explain
Mhm.
in this manner. See, first of all, what you will do is you will initialize the repository. So maybe you can create a new Git repository, or you can clone an existing one from the remote repository. Then you can
Mhm.
create a feature branch. So whenever you are working on a new feature or a bug fix, you will create a new branch from the master branch. So you'll use some descriptive name to keep it simple and to keep it more understanding. Then you'll work on that feature.
Mhm.
You'll make the changes to the code base within that feature branch. You'll commit your changes frequently, and maybe you might be working on that task for 5 days. So every day you'll try to put some commit, because you never know that code might be, you need to test it every day, right? So you'll be
Yeah.
committing your changes frequently, and every day you need to take pull push those things. That is very important, because you don't want conflicts to be happening at the last day of your task,
Mhm.
right? So once you have made the changes and you are committing to your local feature branch, then you will push to the remote repository. You'll push your branch to the
Correct.
remote repository. Then you will create a pull request. Why we are creating a pull request? So that we can merge your feature branch into the master branch. Master branch is the main branch which will be used by the pipelines, and the other automated scripts would be triggered using the master branch only, right? Then the code
Mhm.
review would be done. The your seniors or your team leads would be doing code review. Then once the review is done, there are two things. If your code is correct, then they will push your code. If your code needs some improvement, they'll give some comments to the code, and then you will update again. You will get them reviewed, and then once it is fine, they will merge the pull request. After the pull request is merged, then what happens is you'll delete the feature branch. Then you'll pull the latest changes from the master branch to your local repository, right? And then you'll go to the next task, or maybe you'll start taking up the new assignment, right? So this is the entire Git workflow that you need to tell in an interview.
And one more thing, sir, what is the difference between main and master branch?
Main and master branch.
Yeah.
Which, yeah,
Uh,
which
I have
point you are
come
referring to?
across
Uh-huh.
I have come across one of the portal,
Mm,
like they have mentioned push or pull
mm,
with the main
mm,
git push. yeah, hyphen m pull or from the main or git pull hyphen m master. So I didn't get the difference actually.
Hmm, hmm.
So I wanted to check.
See, yeah, so master is something that is the main repository from where all
Mhm.
your code would be taken. So whenever if anyone wants to take the code, they will use the master branch. The master branch is a single source of truth which all the team members would be referring to.
Mhm.
Hmm. Now there are chances that there can be, along with master branch, there can be one more main branch in which you might be doing code fixing. But generally, master is the more important kind of, it's a branch which you will be referring to.
Okay.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is the entire Git workflow that you need to
Yeah.
explain.
Okay.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do you know about BDD framework?
No, actually, I've heard about it, but I haven't
Hmm.
worked on it.
Okay, okay, no worries. So how will you select the data in a calendar control using automation?
First, we need to identify the element with the find element.
Hmm.
So then we have to use the locator if there is a ID for that particular calendar element or the icon. Then we need to pass it as a parameter with the driver dot find element by dot ID or XPath, whatever it is relevant. So then we have to use the method click. Yeah, that is how it will click on the calendar element. Then we need to pass the data by using as a parameter to the send keys method.
Hmm. Okay. So what will you do to identify the desired date in a calendar? If you want to say, click on some particular date in a calendar, then what will you do?
Mhm. There is a parameter called current date.
Hmm.
So from current date to whatever date we want to click, we can pass it as a parameter.
Right, right. See, I'll share my screen. See, this is a high level code, how you can do that calendar selection. So first we'll be
Mhm.
initializing WebDriver, and then we'll navigate to that particular web page, whichever web page you have, you locate the calendar element. Then first you have to click on the calendar to open it, right? Then what we need to do is we need to identify the desired date. So in your case, current date you
Mhm.
can use because every day date will be getting changed. Then you'll locate all the day elements in the calendar table, right? Then you will iterate
Mhm.
the day elements to find the desired date, right? So there will be a for loop in which you will be traversing, right? And last is you will be closing the WebDriver,
Mhm.
right? So here within the for loop, you'll have if condition also. So if your day is equals to the desired date that you have kept, so then it will run,
Mhm.
it will click. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Shruti. I'm done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Um, no, sir. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have got like almost 1 year of experience. Like